Go into the centre of the city. You couldn't go any higher up, that was the top.
Okay, yeah. Who did you live with?
The time, which term are we talking about? Whereabouts? What year are we going back to?
39?
Beginning of the war?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the war, I lived at home with my 6 brothers and 2 sisters.
Oh. That's a good sized family.
Well, that sort of family in that time was about normal for the city of Bristol.
Yeah.
In the area where I lived, families of 6 and 7 were, the norm.
Where did you fit in? Were you sort of the eldest or the younger?
I had 5 older brothers and 1 younger brother of the 6 sisters. The eldest brother was Jack, then there was George, then there was Bob, then there was Ivor, then there was me, and then there was my younger brother Gerald. That's 6 of us. And then I had 2 sisters. The eldest was Alice and the youngest was Betty.
Wow.
The only survivors now are my younger sister Betty and myself. The rest have all passed on.
Gosh.
During the war I lost 2 brothers. One was killed in Africa in 1943 and another brother was taken a prisoner of war there. Was captured in North Africa by the Germans and was a prisoner all through the war.
I think these girls were really sensitive. They didn't want to ask you anything directly about family or casualties or anything, but obviously it makes the big picture, doesn't it, unfortunately?
Doesn't worry me at all because I'm 90 years of age now, so nothing worries me. And I did 22 years in the Royal Navy in that time as well.
Wow.
I joined the Navy when I was 15 and I went to pension when I was 40. So that was 50 years ago when I went to pension.
Wow, wow, you've kept yourself busy then.
Yeah.
He's had his money worth.
That's what I'd like to hear. Do you want to ask the questions along the line, Frankie? Then we get include everybody.
Where did you live?
When I was a child, I lived in a place called Christchurch near Newport, Monmouthshire, because there's 2 Christchurches, aren't there? And I was the 5th of 7 children. I had, that's right, I had 3 brothers at the time and 2 sisters, and then I had a younger brother much later. And lived there till I was about 6. And then we moved to the edge of Wentwood, which is 40 square miles of wood, and we used to run wild through that. But at the beginning of the war, we just moved right out to the country, and we could hear these sirens going even from there, because they were going in Newport, and we could hear the sirens going, and we didn't know what they were for a while. So my father came home and said the war had broken out.
Were they quite distant, or did they sound quite close, the sirens?
Sorry?
Did the sirens sound quite close?
Well,
or sort of
we could certainly hear them, but they were about 8 miles away.
Yeah.
So,
that's quite unnerving.
Depends where the wind was. If the wind was behind them, we could hear them quite well. But if the wind was the other way, we hardly heard them at all.
Yeah. Quite unnerving, though.
Yes, especially when they went in the dark, late at night.
Yeah.
Which meant there were bombers overhead.
Yeah. Guys, when you did the Bristol Blitz term before last, this is obviously the same time, so when Tom was in Bristol, that's what you were studying. Anyway, go on girls, keep it rolling.
Where did you live?
I lived on the outskirts of Bristol, on a council estate on the outskirts, about 3-4 miles out of Bristol. Yeah.
Who did you live with?
With my parents and my brother.
Which name? No.
Dora, Peggy, June, Tom.
I lived in the village here
Uh-huh.
with my parents
Yeah.
until we had the evacuees in the village. And I had 2 instant brothers.
Did you get on with the evacuees?
Yeah. We had 40 in the village. And
Wow.
only 3 of them were girls. It was-
Must have been a good time to be a young lady.
yeah.
Oh, no,
We won't go there.
I don't know if you're aware, but Shapwick is what they call a thankful village. Because
they know that.
even
Possibly
though
not.
some of the men went to
You're not
war,
year 7.
everybody came back.
Older ones would.
So it's
Yeah.
called a thankful village. And there's only 24 of them in Britain. So we were very thankful. I didn't live then, but Dora did.
There's a plaque in the church to say so.
Yeah. It's quite special, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a shame it doesn't say it on the village sign, because Rodney Stoke, I think they say we are a thankful village on their village
they?
sign. Yeah.
Oh.
It's quite something to be proud of.
Yeah, because everybody doesn't go in the church to see it, do they?
No, exactly.
No war memorial in the village, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, fire enough.
What is it like to be at the school in World War II?
Ah, well, it depends on where your school was, I suppose. But I passed my 11 plus the year the war broke out, and I travelled across Bristol to the grammar school that I got to, and I had to travel into Bristol and then get another bus up to the new school. And that's the most vivid memory I have, I think, of the war, was going in during the Blitz in 1940, and everything got into Old Market, the centre of Bristol, and everything was on fire, everything was blazing around me. So I got back on the bus and went back to where my mother was at work, as everybody had to go to work then. And my father was there as well. He also couldn't get to his place of work, so that was quite... we were much tougher in those days, I think, than we are nowadays, because we sort of took things not for granted, but
Took them in your
things as they
stride.
came and took them in their stride. Yeah, yeah.
Do you think Bristol recovered quite quickly when it had the Blitz of its own? Do you think it managed to kind of keep going quite efficiently?
Yes. Oh yeah. Bristol's pretty tough. It's always has been.
Yeah.
Still is. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to ask that question to somebody else then? Carry on.
Which one?
Same one?
Oh. Do I have to read it again?
Go on. Just in case I've forgotten.
What was it like being at school in World War II?
Hmm?
Who are you asking?
Yeah.
No, in the September that war broke out, I started the school at the street school, grammar school.
Okay.
Watkins Street.
Ah,
We
right.
had a cycle then, there was no school buses then.
I bet the road was safer.
Oh, hardly any cars. And I hadn't been there many weeks, but it was all changed. We had to start school at 8 o'clock in the morning and finish at dinner time.
Oh.
Because the South East Essex Technical College took over the school in the afternoon.
So they
were
relocated?
evacuated, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
So that must have been lovely having a half day.
yeah, but we couldn't have the nice lessons, drama and music. They had to be cut out for the things like Latin
All the
and
best
things.
stuff.
How would that work for you girls if you finished school at 12?
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah,
That'd be good, but then you have to get up, so...
A bit early.
Yeah, we had to
Really?
start
What?
at 8, so we had to
What? I would
cycle
do
the
that.
street before
Yeah,
that.
I do that. Well,
I would do that if I get to finish at 12.
Would you? It would be bearable.
Yeah. What was it like being at school in World War II?
Oh, for me, it was fun. I went to a school in Bristol called Airfield, which was built just above a railway line. So all our lessons were often interrupted by the sound of steam trains going past. And everybody was to try and look out the window and see what the engine was on the steam train it was going past. And we were at school then from 9 o'clock in the morning till 12. And then we'd have a lunch break from 12 to 1, and then we'd back at school at 2 o'clock, or an hour's break for lunch, and then we'd go on till 4 o'clock, and then we'd go home. So that was our school day. And I had to travel about an hour to school in the morning and an hour home. And I had to walk all the way, which is about 3.5 miles. Walk to school and walk home. No buses or cars or anything.
Did your brothers go to the school with you? Did any of your brothers go with you?
No, I
It was
was
just
the
you?
only one that went to that. Remember, all my brothers were away in young.
Oh, okay, right.
Only my younger sister who went
Oh,
to
it's
a
your sister,
different
sorry,
school.
yeah. And was the train line ever in a target?
Yeah, sorry?
Was the train line by your school ever a target?
All railway lines were targets
Yeah.
during the war, but
Yeah.
luckily for us there was no bombs dropped near the school, although Bristol was very heavily bombed during the war.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
How was school with you?
Well, it varied considerably. When I was quite young, I went to Christchurch School, as I said, because I lived near Newport, Christchurch. And then we moved, and I went to a horrible little church school, which I didn't like at all, because there was one class facing that way and one class facing that way, teacher with the infants in a smaller room. But I didn't like that at all. But when I was about 9, we moved back to Christchurch, and I loved that because I loved being in school. And I was very fortunate because my sister, I'd longed for a baby sister, so she sort of nearly brought me up, and she taught me to read very early, so I could read to class when I was quite young. But at the beginning of the war, the classes were separated. There was some special shelters built at the bottom of the playground. Some of us had to go to the church and somewhere else. And I was one that went to the church. And I remember seeing a dogfight, a Spitfire and a Messerschmitt fighting overhead. And what surprised me was you could see the bullets, and they were coming across in pairs, two together.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was very exciting for me, because you don't think about the danger at the time.
Yeah.
So that was great. But the master who was in front said, "Get back." So I had to peep round him to see what was going on.
How was it if you had a job in World War II?
Sorry?
How was it if you had a job in World War II?
If I had a job?
Yeah, no, at school.
Well, I was still at school until I was 15.
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah.
Did your teachers at school, did they make it clear what was going on in the war? Did they kind of keep you informed, or was it something they didn't talk about? No,
They didn't talk about the war, no.
no, that makes sense.
But the school that I was at, we were all old enough, I think, to understand that there was a war on.
Yeah,
We were fighting the
gotcha.
Germans,
Yeah.
and because all our relatives, brothers, and that had all gone off to join, so we were pretty well clued up with what was happening.
And I guess being in the city, being in Bristol, it's a bit closer to home, maybe.
It was, because Bristol was very heavily bombed during the war, and air raids were quite a frequent occurrence from about 1940 onwards.
But we had Filton Airfield was quite close to Bristol, quite on the other side of Bristol than that. And I can remember we used to get Wednesday afternoons off from school, and I would go home and do a few things to help my mum.
Yeah.
And I heard this roaring and went outside, and there were German bombers coming across us, of course, from the west to the east as they were coming into across the channel. And dozens and dozens of them all. And they were going across to Filton, and so they bombed Filton. Our head girl was killed in that raid. She was on sort of some special thingy that she was working, doing in, and she was in the shelters, and the shelters had a direct hit. She was killed.
I guess you can see
It was
that
all-
image even now, can you? It's really
yeah, you
clear.
don't forget these things, you know.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Sorry, guys.
Did your parents work in World War II? Like, were they in like?
Did my parents what do?
Did they go to the war? Did they fight?
No, my father was 39 when the war started, so of course he was too old to serve in the forces. But he did join, he was an amateur entertainer, and first of all, he and his friends, a group of friends, all doing different things, you know. In those days people entertained each other. We didn't have television or read anything. And, I can't remember what I was going to say now.
Your father was too old to serve, but as an entertainer.
That's right, yes. And then he decided to go into ENSA. You wouldn't know what ENSA was, probably. It was the entertainment's part of the army sort of thing. They went abroad and entertained the troops in their camps and so on. And he joined ENSA, and he thoroughly enjoyed that till the end of the war, and he came home, as they all did, and took up his job again.
Oh, sorry.
Did any of your parents work?
Sorry?
Did any of your parents work out fighting?
My father was a gas fitter for the Bristol Gas Company all through the war. He was too old to go to war. He was probably in his middle 40s then. And my mother stayed at home to look after the children that were left there. All for the boys that came home only from the forces. And of course my younger sister.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the family size was come down to next to nothing.
My father was a millwright in a big steel firm, and he was 45 at the beginning of the war, so he was too old to go. But he joined, not ARP, what was it called? The Volunteer something or other.
There was ARP.
Yes. And they used to go out at night fire watching, you know, in case incendiary bombs were dropped somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
And they used to go out with old stirrup pump, which they had take this pump and put out the flames and what have you.
Not the LDV, Local Defence Volunteers.
That's right, yes, I couldn't think what they were called. But I had 3 brothers, 2 of them in the Navy and one in the Army, but because my baby brother was too young. But I worked on a farm, school holidays and weekends, and I really enjoyed that. I loved getting the cows in, you know, and helping to milk them and all the rest of it. From the time I was about 12 or 13.
Did you
And
feel
I did
like
that till I was 16.
Sorry. Did you feel like did you want to do that, or was it sort of a duty as part of the war work? Yeah.
Yes, I loved being on the farm.
Yeah.
Yes. And I used to stay there weekends, you know, so
Did you?
I loved that, yes.
Did your parents work in World War II?
Yeah, Dad worked down here as a chauffeur in the garden, and Mum worked down at the convalescent home in the kitchen, which is a bonus to me, because she worked down there. I was allowed to go down every week to see the film they had every week, and the extra concerts.
Really?
And my friends couldn't go, and they
That's a perk.
yes.
Carrie Ann, your long one.
Were you ever scared that your family members were going to get injured?
That's a big question. Who are you going to put that to first?
I don't know, I don't
Peggy.
think it really troubled us. I mean, you know, we were a lot tougher in those days, and we got on with things, and you had to get on with things, you know. There was nobody, so you didn't have any, like you do nowadays, you only got to look around to find somebody to help you, you know. You had to do things for yourself, and I don't think so. I mean, my father was, until he went into, and so he was a piano tuner and repairer, and used to travel all over Bristol on his bicycle.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, he's pretty vulnerable, really, I suppose. But
Yeah.
no, it's my brother went into the army when he was 15. He was a regular soldier, so we didn't have to worry about him. He was okay. Yeah.
Peggy, what did your family ever get injured?
Sorry?
Were you ever scared that your family would get injured?
Not really, because I mean, in a little village, I think
Yeah.
wasn't a lot different,
No.
really.
I suppose the bigger the place, girls, the bigger the city, the more chance there was that something could happen. But I guess it was a way of life
Yeah.
almost, wasn't it?
I mean, even on the outskirts, sometimes you'd get the bombers would be making for home, and they'd drop their bombs to get rid of them on the way.
Oh, we
Yeah.
had that round
And we had a
as
few.
well,
yeah.
We had a few like that on the estate, and killed 3 small children once. I always remember our
Horrible.
My
mother coming
scariest
home in
moment.
tears and getting them out.
Sorry, I didn't.
Go on.
My scariest moment was because my older brother had to move in with us. My sister and I were in just a small room above the hall, you know, quite a small room. And I was against the wall, and a landmine dropped. Might have been quite away from us, but it was a terrific explosion. And I shot out of bed over my sister and landed on the floor. That was my scariest moment.
Gosh, why was that quite normal to drop landmines?
Landmines
Weird.
were,
Strange.
Yeah, we
Worse
had one
than
up on
bombs.
Cock Hill, what
Worse
they
than
call
bombs,
Cock
but
Hill
they-
up on the
you know, they spread out much further.
How old were you when you were at the war?
After the war,
No, when you were at, like when the war was happening.
when the war started, I was 12 years of age.
How old were you?
13.
It's quite scary. 'Cause you don't
Almost
know.
10.
Mine's gonna go.
Okay. How old were you when the war was happening?
I was 11 when it started.
If you don't
I
mind
was
us asking.
12.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
We're all different, a year or 2 years.
Peggy, how old were you when the war was like happening?
How old was?
That's
Sorry.
Peggy. That's Peggy.
Oh.
That's Dora.
Yeah, that's
Dora.
That's Dora.
Oh, 12 I was.
Yeah.
What shops did you visit? And what were they like?
Didn't have a lot of option in those days.
I know.
Mainly the small shops, the corner shops and so on, you know. And I mean, there wasn't the range of goods to buy then as there are now. So, I suppose there were 1 or 2 bigger shops, I don't even remember.
I know we had Marks and Spencer's in Bridgewater then.
What do you do for fun?
What do you do for fun?
Oh, heavens, what did we do for fun? Played outdoors.
Belonged to the Girl Guides. That was fun.
Yes, I joined the Girl Guides, but I wasn't really old enough and I didn't want to go in the brownies, so I was sort of half and half, you know, tagging along with the guides. But my brother and I used to run through this big wood we lived near, and we'd go for miles and miles. We'd just take an apple or something, nothing else, and we'd go for miles and miles and not come home until tea time.
No, in those days
You could.
children could be out, I mean,
Yes.
much safer, or either that or we didn't know
Yeah.
so much about what went on. But I think it was a lot safer for children than it would be nowadays.
Yeah, you used to
Parents
go.
wouldn't be able to let the kiddos do, you know. We used to be out all day running around the estate.
Yeah, across the fields and things for hours.
Mum's fine. Mummy wants you to wait a little longer.
Oh dear.
Where were we? What did you eat, Dora?
Whatever we could get.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fine.
The bread then was what we called a national loaf. It was
That's right.
not quite white, that wasn't brown. It was quite good. Quite good food.
It was more like wholemeal, but it was a mixture actually of
Right, don't worry.
wholemeal and white, you know. So.
Yeah. Okay. What clothes did you wear?
We had a big garden, so
What
we had
clothes?
lots of vegetables.
And what clothes did you wear?
Clothes?
Yeah.
Well, in those days, all clothes were rations. You had a ration book with points
With
on
coupons.
coupons on it.
Yeah.
You had to cut the coupons out if you say bought a pair of stockings or socks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
you had
Cut a pair because you were only allowed limited amounts of clothing, and that was all your clothing, suits and anything, shirts, ties. It was all rationed.
They all handed down.
Nothing was for sale in the normal as you would see it today. Everything was rationed.
Or it was handed down from a brother or
Yeah.
sister.
What were toys like?
What
Sorry?
was
Toys.
toys?
Well, I remember them worse than toys because, as I say, I had a very much younger brother, and I remember that somebody gave him a fort, you know, with toy soldiers and what have you. But I'm not sure if that was just after the war.
Yeah.
But I don't remember toys except having a ball. We always had a ball.
Yeah. Something sort of quite straightforward, quite cheap to manage.
Yes.
I had dolls, I know, I had
Yeah.
quite a lot of dolls.
It
They must have been
was
the dolls.
I didn't like dolls, so
Oh,
I remember having a gun
Oh, did you have a gun?
on my hip.
You were a trailblazer.
That's right.
I remember playing with my brother's little lead soldiers. They used to have.
Oh, yeah,
them, but
yeah,
they-
yeah.
Got told off because they used to break
Yeah.
them.
Oh.
I had a little celluloid doll. I don't know what a celluloid. That was before plastic. And we were up in the attic playing with my friend. And we had a paraffin stove that stuck about that high. And we were sacrificing her over that. And she caught fire.
It's very
And
dull.
I threw it like that in the corner where there was a lot of comics. And it caught fire. And we went downstairs and we got a bucket of water to throw over it because Mum was out at the time. And it put the fire out, but the water went through the ceiling. So when she
Oh, my
when she came
word.
home,
You're still here to tell the tale.
yeah,
But the doll wasn't.
no.
The doll was no more.
What did it feel like in World War II?
For me personally, it was not a very nice time. Although as I was going to school each day, it was reasonably happy. Because I had all my friends around me, but all my family had all participated in God's all four corners of the earth. All my brothers had gone off to war. Even my younger brother, who was younger than me,
Yeah.
went off to sea as a 14-year-old boy. He went to sea during the war. So all I had at home was my elder sister and my younger sister, and I didn't like that very much.
What did it feel like when you heard your first bomb? Or
Sorry,
what did it feel like when you heard your first bomb? Like,
bomb.
yeah.
Well, as I say, we lived miles out in the country, so the only thing I remember was this landmine. I don't remember any bombs dropping anywhere near us because we were about 20 miles from a town, you know, and even 8 miles from a village, so we were well out in the country and they didn't drop bombs out there unless they wanted to get rid of them on their way home. So, just a
They were
landmine.
sheltered like living in the country. They didn't see anything of the war. It was only in the big cities like Bristol where they knew what war was all about, because every night the German bombers were coming over, and at 7 o'clock the sirens would go, and everybody would rush down to the shelters. In the country, they'd go straight over heading for Bristol.
Yeah, they used to come this way.
We had
to
a
go to
little
Bristol.
shelter up in
Sometimes
the corner of
they
the
would
garden, but I
actually
don't
get
ever
back,
remember
I suppose,
using
they drop
it.
bombs
Yeah.
on the
But
back.
I do remember
quite
shrapnel
terrifying,
running down
yes.
the roof, you know, you could hear it clattering all the way down, and found it the next morning, pieces of shells, you know, this piece of shell about that big that had rattled down the roof in the night.
You could hear the bombs whining as they were coming down. Oh, we had an Anderson shelter built for us.
Do you remember making
You were
your
awful.
shelters?
But I don't ever remember using it.
Standing there in the mud when the blitz started, because
Yeah.
we hadn't, you know, better to use it. And it was very muddy, but we gradually got it quite civilised.
I was going to say, did it get quite comfortable,
Oh,
even though you
yeah.
never had to
yeah,
use
we
it?
had beds out there eventually. And,
Did you have to hand the material in after the war? Or did you keep the Anderson shelter? Do you
I
remember
can't
what
remember
happened?
what happened to it. No, I can't remember what happened to it. No.
No, we didn't have one.
Mm.
We were in the cupboard under the stairs.
Ah.
That's where we went.
I remember
Would
my
have been
father
much good though
telling
if bombed on.
True.
I remember my father telling us to get underneath the table because we had a big farmhouse table which had a thick top, you know,
Yeah.
6 big legs.
Yeah.
And he said, get underneath the table because that's the safest place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had air raid shelters that were designed, you could build them under a table in the house with wire caging all around and steel posts
what
in
were
the
they
corner.
called?
What
Were
were
they
they called?
Morrison shelters? Was
They
it
weren't
Morrison
There
shelters?
were Morrison and
Morrison.
Anderson.
And you could climb in there, so that even if the bomb fell in the house and all the stones,
Yeah.
cracks all around,
Yeah.
you'd be tucked away safe in there and they'd dig you out eventually. And then there were the Anderson shelters, which were built in your garden.
Yeah. Those are the ones that you built, girls.
Yeah.
And in the streets they built brick-built ones for
You don't have
the
to.
public to go into. If you were abroad, you know, out in the street,
Yeah.
there were public brick-built shelters which were pretty well useless, but that's all they provided.
But that was just a sort of a common communal shelter.
Yeah, for everybody to go into if you were out in the street in daylight.
Yeah.
If you're home, you had either your Anderson shelter in the garden or your little steel bomb-proof shelter under the kitchen table.
How loud were the sirens?
Oh, quite in Bristol, there was just one siren. There were sirens all over the city, so that when they went off,
You knew it.
everybody knew there was sirens going off right all over the city. Probably in Bristol there were 50 or 60 sirens going off, so the whole of the city knew that there was an air raid going on.
Was it scary?
Was it?
Was it sad?
Was
Scary, Tom.
Oh, it was when you were young, as a youngster. So you got used to it. You got used to it after a while because
It was exciting
Yeah,
though, somehow. You know, it was different and I found it quite exciting when things were happening.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was frightening if they dropped a bomb anywhere near you, and that was frightening.
When
Yeah.
the landline dropped, it wasn't exciting, it was terrifying.
Yeah, when the siren went off at street when we were at school, we had to go in, our class had to sit out in the corridor in front of the headmaster's study, and we were getting barley sugar sweets to eat.
Wow.
I don't know if that was...
What was a treat to sort of take
whether
your
was
mind
the-
off it?
Probably, I don't know.
Ooh.
And of course, if we hadn't done our homework, you know what children are, what? I hope the siren will go, I haven't done my homework.
He was giving you sweets.
Yeah. No, I wasn't living in Strait, this is when I was going to school in Strait.
Yeah.
But the siren was loud, it was in Strait, but we could hear it here.
Another thing that used to be exciting was some of the bombs that the Germans dropped didn't explode.
Yeah.
And the soldiers used to come around and dig them out. And we used to go down and watch the soldiers digging 20 feet down into the ground to lift out this bomb, the unexploded bomb, and then they bring it up and then they'd steam out all the explosives on the inside. And that was something we always used to watch because
Quite exciting.
they didn't like you standing too close
bet.
because they were very dangerous. But
Yeah.
as young boys, you were very
I bet you couldn't
interested
take your
to see.
eyes off it.
Yeah, and incendiary bombs coming down.
Yeah.
When they have
They
an
were
incendiary raid, you could see you wouldn't see anything. You'd hear the whistles,
Yeah.
bang, it hit the ground.
And then
Big shower of sparks, and they burst into flames. You know, set fire to houses. And
Did they have people in the cities whose job was to try and find the unexploded bombs?
Yeah.
So they'd have patrols looking round
No,
for.
people
Yes,
would,
that's what
people would
one of
bring
the
up
things
and
my
say.
father did.
Sometimes you wouldn't even know there was a bomb there because
Yeah.
they used to go straight into the ground and get buried.
Well, they're still coming to light now, aren't they?
They're still finding them.
They
Yeah.
found one in a
They're still
schoolyard
finding
about a
them
week
today.
ago.
Yeah, especially on the malls where it's soggy,
Did it
you
blow
know.
No, they had to defuse
Bombs
it, but
went
it was
down
still a
a long
live
way.
bomb.
Here.
No, I can't remember where it was, but it was in a school playground, I think. And they have to close the school, evacuate the area. So still, even now, they're dangerous.
That's everything.
That's everything? No way! Oh, well, I'm going to hand it over to you girls because I think you know what to do.
Yeah.
What do you do when you've just had a
sounds
nice cup of
ominous.
tea?
Thank you for coming. Yeah, thanks for
pleasure.
coming to talk to us and everything.
Oh, okay.
We've got a little present for
Oh, no.
you. Here you go.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right over there.
Oh, that's lovely.
Thank you very much, my dear. That's really very kind of you. Oh,
I think we could probably go on for hours and it's such a shame that I messed up.
Very kind of you, thank you very much. Oh, lovely.
You didn't want any of that unless you want.
Unless you'd like to come back.
Oh, you can see you read my scribble.
Oh, we
But it's so much nicer to hear it from you, Dora. What would you like us to do?
But then you can both share.
Could you face coming
Some of
back?
it.
Yeah.
They had a searchlight
My
battery
favourite.
at Northbrook Farm.
Flowers.
Yeah. Do you know what? Could I suggest that next term, would you be happy to come back and talk to a couple of classes? Because then you could share all of these things. It wouldn't be quite
there's
so
things
formal
about
as
the
this.
village mostly.
That's all right.
Like we had an airfield at Western Zoyland and that.
It's all really interesting.
Huh?
I feel like I've robbed you of all of your information. Folks, could I just ask collectively, would you be happy to come back? I'm not talking about quickly, but you know, if we were to ask again, would you be happy to come back?
If they want us.
Oh yes, we'd love you to come
I don't
back.
want to be saying, well, that was boring.
Well, these girls have been amazing because they were really nervous, but I know it's been really useful.
Goodness, we don't bite.
Really
Be
useful.
happy to come back.
That would be fantastic. What we could do, Frankie, before you go, very carefully, could you maybe cut a few more slices of cake? Because then we could maybe give you a piece to take away. Would that be all right?
No, I've really had enough cake.
I was going to say I
shouldn't really
locked
have
out
any
of
more.
Okay, that's
It's
fine.
a beautiful cake. Please tell the cook that it really was delightful.
And I hope,
Okay.
and I
Would you
hope
Would you like a
all
slice, Dora?
Who would like a
to
piece to
take
take
home?
home? Would you like a piece to take
Yes,
home?
please. It's lovely.
Can I wrap it
Would
in
you
that?
like a piece to take home?
I said yes.
Right.
Mrs. Paul would love a piece to take
Shall I put it in the napkin? Okay.
Yeah, if you pop that in, that's there for Dora.
Is that alright?
Yes, I'd say she could always break it in two, couldn't she?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, you're doing a good job there.
Hospitality skills, Becky. Charlotte, I wasn't able to spot Mum, so will you just be able to say, sorry that we've run over a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's Mrs. Paul's fault. Okay, can you go again? And then we can move on to June. And Kerry-Ann, you did an amazing job. Kerry-Ann wasn't going to come, but then because there were only two of the girls, she decided last minute to come. And did a really good job, didn't you? So that's Dora's.
You're not missing your tea, are you?
I'm not. No. These girls are fine. Is that going to be okay there? You need a baggie, don't you?
I got my trolley up then.
Of course you have.
I don't go anywhere without
I
that.
was just going to say she doesn't go anywhere without it.
No.
I wonder what she's got in there sometimes.
Can we use that?
Oh,
Sorry, we've got a
Mercury's
spare.
for June at
Do
the
you mind?
moment.
His head.
Mercury's for
use this?
June, I mustn't forget
Oh.
them.
Good work.
June,
Work, Governor.
I got your Mercury's in there, don't forget.
Hey?
I got your Mercury's,
Oh.
don't forget.
Right. How do we ask these lovely people if we could take a photo? Would you mind if we took a photo? No. Because you're celebrities now, you see.
Oh my God.
But you would like the Germans to know that I've been talking
I
about
won't tell the Germans. It's fine. I won't tell them.
Is that Peggy?
Oh yes, sorry.
Oh, thank you, dear.
You can have his napkin.
Oh, okay. We have one more bit. Thank you. Thank you.
Is that okay?
Go for it.
Nice committee meeting. Thank you.
Tom, are you coming
Well,
as
No,
well?
that's not for me, thank you.
No.
The WA one.
Good work.
There must be one.
Wait a minute. Next
Have we
week.
go?
It's Wednesday.
I'll have a piece of
And
Germans.
Well, you're saying you have
Bit
a piece
short on
now.
the
The
Tuesday,
Tuesday
yeah,
on
yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Because it
no,
was,
no,
it
mine.
was
Mine
going
had
to make
one,
that
there's
noise.
It's yours.
Oh,
Yeah, only
The
it's
one
one.
with some left for you.
Oh, it's fine.
Made it for the two.
No,
Look,
that's
we've got that there. We've got
That's
that
all on the
there.
Wednesday.
There's plenty,
It's fine.
seriously, we're just short of napkins, if anything.
This napkin, if you want it.
Oh, okay. Are you sure, Frankie?
Yeah.
You don't need it? You need a piece for Dad. Would Dad like a piece of cake?
Yeah,
Really?
probably. But I eat it.
Oh, actually, can you just shush that off? So I can open the napkin up.
Hang on, where's that
Got
picker
it, got
thing?
it, got it, got it.
Sorry about this.
There we go. Likely you'll never know what it is.
Now that was cake ration was for a week during the wars. Piece of
He'd
cake
been
that
looking
size.
at me all night watching it.
I'd never survive in there.
Thank you.
So how about we find out?
I've got tissues if you want to use them.
Yeah, let's do that. Do you want to take a piece of Mum?
Should I cut some?
If we could divvy that up, maybe for Dad and Charlotte. Does Mum want a piece of cake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet she does.
So Dan?
Yeah, go for it.
There's a
Dora, can I help get you home as well? Or do you want
I've
to?
got my trolley.
I know, I can put it in the car if you want.
Will it go in? It's a big one.
what kind of car have you got?
Black one.
Not that far.
That one.
I know it's uphill going out.
Really?
Is it that
No, it's the one that's in the middle causing chaos.
one? Oh, I'll get you.
Anyway, I can if you want. I could drop Tom and June and Peggy, and then come back and go up the road.
I'm perfectly capable of walking down the...
Have you got a 7-seater?
Okay. Have I got a 7-seater? No.
Obviously not.
No.
Why?
So this is Frankie's dad. We're waiting for the trooper, and that's Charlotte's mum. Yeah. Okay.
Here you go.
Do you need to get anything from the classrooms, girls?
Yeah. No.
Do you?
No, not the classroom, but the changing rooms.
Okay. Do you want to go and sort yourself out, Carrie Ann?
I
Don't
don't
forget
have
to
enough.
say.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Of course you
Thank you.
can.
If we come again,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have that.
forget the present, please. I hope I'm speaking for everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
We're
This
so
this is wonderful.
We just love to
This is
come.
we're
wonderful,
so
but
grateful though
we
because
don't
it's
want a
your
present each
time.
time we come.
Well, that's
Mine-
nice of you to say so, but
That'll suffice for...
We'll have a cup of tea, mind.
That's
I should
lovely.
hope so. We'll have a cup of tea.
it's nice
but
to be able
really,
to buy them for you and to say
don't go
thank
to
you.
the expense of presents and things.
Oh.
This is beautiful, and we do appreciate it.
We're really grateful that
Very
you
much
came.
so.
I hope we've been helpful.
Anything we can do to help.
Awesome.
Be pleased to.
I thought we were going to get the whole school in a big hall.
We can do that next time. You're a brave man there, Tom. We'll get some naughty boys in next time, shall we?
Oh, yeah, get the boys in because I think they're going to kick out to the table.
Can we do a photo? Where do you think is the best place, girls?
Here?
Right here.
Right here, be in front of the school thing?
Yeah, in front of the school thing. The same rows, but by
Right,
different
let's do
steps.
that. So you're going to stand behind the ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, where am I